Hello, this is part 4 of the iRig series, and I have moved my eyelids around a little bit, but they really do need quite a bit more shaping up that I'm not going to do for this tutorial. You can always move points around a little bit if you want to fine-tune and shape up your eyes, keeping in mind that most of this part right here is really just the eyelid part that kind of blends in with your character's skin color, all right? And it's just going to be, the end result is that the eyelid moves up and down like that, all right? Now let's create another vector layer for the eye whites. I'll name that whites and drag that below the lids. It's going to need to be below that. We'll start out with a, let's put autofill on, and I'll use the oval and choose a white color, and then I'll draw from center holding the Alt key down and fill that in. We want that to go beyond the boundaries of where the lid is at, and even moving some points, adjusting these points so that it kind of matches the shape of that lid without extending beyond it. Okay. And then we can even copy that if we want to. Paste a copy of it, move it over here, and then take this and point by point, kind of shape that up and get it within the boundaries there. So then we've got our eye whites. We can use the whites as a guideline for the mask, and therefore with the whites layer selected, I can just do a duplicate layer, and I'm going to change that to the word mask, and mask is going to have to be at the bottom of all of these within the eyes folder. And then the next thing we need to do is create the iris there, and the iris and the pupil need to go together in their own folder within this folder. So do a new group, and you can name this whatever you want. I'm going to just say iris and pupils. If I can spell pupils, put that inside this folder. So I've got the folder within a folder, and then I'm going to need a vector layer, and I'll name this iris, or I could call it eyeballs, whatever, but put that inside this folder, you see. Okay. Now I'm going to use my other eyes as a guide for the shapes. So I had to turn off my whites and my mask just so I could see the shape of these irises there that are below. Okay, but I'm on my new iris layer, and of course using the oval tool, and I'm just going to do a solid color for this, and maybe I'll choose the lighter green. And then I'm going to start at about center, hold my Alt key down, and try and just basically get the size, and then move that into place. Okay, and then I can do a control copy and paste, and then of course this one needs to be larger. As I mentioned, the let's see here if I can grab the eyeball that's closer to us in the 3/4 view is larger. Obviously, as you can see, that ended up over top of my lids. When I put the folder in, it just ended up above the lids, so I just need to put the lids over top of that, and then you can see that the eyes are going behind what will be my eyelids. And I'm going to put my whites and my mask back on, and I'm going to shut off, let's see, we'll shut off these other eyes. Okay, that looks pretty crazy because I made these the lid color so much darker just so that you could see what I was doing, but you can change these to match your character's skin color, whatever that may be. Maybe your character is green or blue. Alright, another vector layer for the pupils. And the pupils were the same shape here as the irises, so I guess I could just make a copy of an iris, go back to the pupil layer, paste that in, hold the Alt key down to shrink it proportionately, and then I would just need to change the color to black. And then I can make a copy of that. And this one would be a little bit bigger, I guess, for the bigger eye. I don't want to make it too much bigger. Now let's quickly make some eyebrows. Put those on a separate layer, and let's see. I guess I could try and use the blob brush for that. And wow, is that going to be too big? Okay, that size might work for the eyebrows. And I'll need to choose some eyebrow-ish color. I'm picking up the color from right there. Let's see how this works out. Of course, I'm not taking a lot of time with this. I think those are just going to have to do for the purpose of our exercise. All right, I think we can move on to the next in the series of these tutorials.